Has anybody got any news they want to bring up? Anything else before we dive into Return of the Living Dead?
Our schedule's about to be a little bit crazy. Listeners, heads up. We're not doing Bone Tomahawk anytime soon, but we are doing Terrifier 2. We are doing Halloween Ends. We've got some other cool movies. The new Hellraiser, which will be coming out. These all come out very similar time frames, so we're going to have to figure out how we're going to release these. So we got a bunch of new movies coming out, so that's going to be pretty awesome. I know that the ending of Halloween Ends is supposed to be like really crazy, and people are asking, like the studio's asking people not to spoil it. So if anybody's out there and they want to see this and try to email us the ending, go fuck yourselves.
People are going to immediately spoil it online. So if you're not going to watch it day one,
hey, look,
just
if
stay off the
Dumbledore
internet.
dies and we found out, I mean, I think that's something that happens.
Wouldn't that be the crossover of the century, though? Dumbledore shows up at Halloween Ends and like puts a spell, and that's how they make Michael Myers unsupernatural.
Look, the crossover of the century is Liana Quigley is trash, teaming up with Whoopi Goldberg in Sister Act 3, back in the habit.
Or Whoopi Goldberg's character when she was the cop with that T-Rex.
Theodore Rex?
Yes.
Holy shit. We actually have that downstairs.
See?
New cold open. Which house would Michael Myers be inducted to by the talking hat?
The talking hat from what?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Let's see.
The sorting hat.
Sorting hat.
He's-
Sorry.
Oh, that's right. It's got a
Definitely-
hat that talks. I've only seen one Harry Potter movie.
Definitely
so
a
I don't remember
Hufflepuff.
much.
You think he's a
Oh,
Hufflepuff?
such a Hufflepuff. Boy, he's huffing puffs nonstop.
That shape sure Hufflepuffs, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
Is Gryffindor a one?
Griffin? No, Griffin.
Griffin.
Yeah, close.
Okay. Woo!
Now with Kung Fu Gryffindor.
You got to tell us what house would you put him in?
Oh, he's one of them Snape dudes.
Oh, that's too easy, though. But
yeah,
yes.
that's too easy.
That's why I went Hufflepuff. He's
Okay,
definitely
fine.
a Slytherin.
He's a Slytherin, yeah.
Yeah. That's because he's evil. Mm-hmm.
But Slytherins aren't supposed to be evil. They're
Oh, boy,
supposed
here
to
we
be
go.
cunning.
Yeah. Harry Potter stands, get at us.
Well,
Where is
okay.
he going?
The movies just made
I'm
me
not a
think
Harry
that-
Potter stan.
The movie just makes me think everybody in Slytherin's an asshole.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That's
Which
their-
one's
that's their
got
defining
Alan
trait.
Rickman?
All of them.
Wait,
Oh,
Alan-
which house?
Yeah.
That's Slytherin.
which? You meant which movie?
Yeah, he's in all of them. Hey, all you creatures from cyberspace. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the GraveTalk podcast. My name is Mark, again joined with Garrett and John, and welcome back, Emma.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us again on this episode about the living dead.
Return of the Living Dead.
It's about the living
Yeah.
dead.
Oh, okay.
They return.
I thought you fucked up
they're
the
back.
title. I was about to be furious.
No, why would I do that?
Because you're bad at your job.
Oh, that's true, but I know what I watched.
Okay.
do you, though?
No. How you guys doing?
Fine.
Obviously, we're not doing well. We are all hanging on by a fucking string and a prayer.
Yeah, I feel out of practice, but we've recorded our regular schedule, so I don't know.
You ever wake up and you feel like you're not in your right skin?
Like every day.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt this morning.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. What have y'all been up to since last time?
Nothing. I haven't been up to anything. I've been traveling, so I didn't watch a lot of movies.
How are your travels?
The travel was fine.
Did you go to Transylvania?
I did not. I went to Pennsylvania, so it is a
It's
Vania.
still a Vania,
But no vampires are from Pennsylvania. It's very boring there, so they all leave.
How does one earn the Vania moniker?
Great question. I don't know.
You just bestow it upon yourself.
Maybe you got to fill out a form.
Yeah. What would Texas Vania look like?
Oh, God.
The same.
Tavania?
Tavania. Oh, I see what you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Texas Vania
Right,
doesn't
it's too
seem
long.
right.
It doesn't
Yeah.
roll off the tongue.
It's like two separate words.
Tejas Vania. That's still too much.
Yeah, it's because of that extra
You guys
syllable.
should not be in charge of naming anything.
No. But let them work it out. We'll sit over here and
No.
work
This
it
is
out
all
here.
part of the creative process, okay? Y'all are seeing how the sausage is made right now.
Emma, what you been up to?
I mean, I saw Nope with you guys, and I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
That's now in my like top 5 favorite movies.
Have you gone back and seen it? Anybody?
I have, yeah, because it's on. You can buy it now. Awesome.
You can
Still
rent
holds
it.
up. Rent
now.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not renting for $20. I'll buy for $20.
I know. My wife wanted to see it though, and it was worth it.
Okay.
Was
back
it
to the
just as
theater.
good the second time?
It was. It was better because like you can. I look for things that put the like what are they foreshadowing? There's the word I was looking for. I could look for elements of that.
Did you figure out the shoe?
No.
Still
I
a
still don't
mystery.
really get the whole monkey thing. But
I saw on a video somewhere online that it said they think the shoe was just something for him to focus in on to keep his eye gaze off of the monkey, like looking the ape in the eyes. So that may be the only significance.
since I have no other ideas, I'm going with it. That's the answer.
Anyway, we're here to talk about 1985's Return of the Living Dead.
Well, we can all agree the best Dead movie out there.
If not the best, it's damn close.
Yeah.
Day is probably going to tie it for me, but
That's what I was
man.
going to say. Day of the Dead or this one are probably the tops for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Two very different feels, though. Like
Yeah.
the Romero stuff versus the Return series. I mean, totally different direction, but
Right.
I don't know. I just can never watch this movie and not have a fucking blast.
As a kid, I wasn't too into zombie movies, and I thought they were all just in the same universe. Like, I had no idea that the Return of the Living Dead didn't follow Night of the Living Dead, because they even reference that in this one.
They practically break the fourth wall to be like, hey, you know that movie that you like? Check that out. That was a documentary, bro.
Yeah, that's like if somebody came out with a vampire movie and was like, hey, you seen the Twilights? It's kind of like that, but if it was based on a true story. They actually sparkle.
People are like, what if Edward was in our basement right now?
What if an interview with a vampire Brad Pitt turned to like Kevin Bacon was like, you ever seen The Lost Boys? That was us.
I dream of hanging from
Wait,
bridges.
not Kevin Bacon, Christian Slater.
Okay, you saved yourself,
God.
man.
Oh, man.
Get your 80s white guys right. Anyway,
Speaking of 80s butts.
sorry, did I yell too loud at you
No,
there?
that's- yeah.
Just silenced everybody. Ooh, he's
Yeah, I was
mad.
like, oh,
he's mad.
He used his Mark voice.
Yeah, but this one was brought to us by Dan O'Bannon. And John, did you find out what the history between the Night of the Living Dead and this Return of the Living Dead splinter offshoot is?
I did. So this is kind of a sequel in its own way to Night of the Living Dead. So the person who created this sort of universe is a man named John Russo, who worked with George Romero and created Night of the Living Dead. Then they couldn't agree on a sequel, so they split the rights. George Romero went off to do all of his Day movies and all of his Of the Dead films, and John Russo got to keep the Living Dead part of the title. So he wrote a book that was set 10 years after Night of the Living Dead, and it was about these three ladies and the zombie apocalypse happened again and how they navigated it. And it was eventually going to become a movie, a 3D movie, filmed by Tobe Hooper, which would have been awesome.
Of Texas Chainsaw fame.
Yes, and of Life Force
I'm about to say
fame.
of Life Force fame.
Right.
That's not what people don't even know that movie exists.
Which is where he moved off to do. He dropped this movie to go make Life Force.
Whoops.
I never heard about that movie until I started researching this movie.
Isn't it about space vampires?
It is
Yes.
about space vampires.
Yep.
Also, tons of titty in that, too.
That's just what the 80s do.
Yeah.
I mean, John Russo knew what he was about.
He's a titty man, not an ass man.
Well, John Russo had nothing to do with Life Force, but you know who did have something to do with Life Force? Dan O'Bannon, who wrote the script for that and the script for this. And when Tobe Hooper dropped, they're like, hey, Dan, you want to direct this movie? And he was like, I do if I can change the story from the book to make it different. And they were like, sure, why not? And now we got this film. And that's basically, very high level, what happened.
So you probably don't know the answer to this, but I'm curious, like, what exactly did Romero get out of the deal? That he could just make more zombie
He
movies?
could make more zombie
Peace
movies.
of
yeah.
mind.
Right? I
He
mean,
wasn't associated with Return of the Living
Well,
Dead.
here's what I think he got. He got to drop John Russo because if you think about it, you don't hear a lot of John Russo films, but you sure as hell do hear about George Romero. So I think we know who came up with the good ideas in Night of the Living Dead. So he got to drop his partner who sucked, and
you're making a lot of assumptions about Mr.
that he
Russo.
sucked, yes.
let's see. I saved his Wikipedia
Look,
page because I
sometimes
didn't
there's
read
falling
it.
out amongst creatives. I mean, and you have to just basically shed unwanted pounds or just, like get rid of the trash. So tune in next episode where John will be replaced by someone else.
Well, let me tell you a bit about John Russo. I did remember this. In 1999, he added scenes to Night of the Living Dead. Have anyone seen this? They released a DVD version,
No.
30th edition,
Yep.
where they brought back the preacher character, same actor 30 years later, and
Preacher?
inserted him into scenes. They filmed all new dialogue. It was a whole...
I know they filmed new dialogue and scenes.
Disaster.
I couldn't remember that it was a preacher,
No.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I actually own that copy on DVD.
So that's the kind of work John Russo's putting out. Best part, one of the characters has like the most ridiculous facial hair for 1969. He like looks straight out if he walked out of like a 1999 rap video. So
Smart thinking.
yeah.
Good idea there.
He also filmed a movie called Santa Claus, KLWS, The Majorettes. Midnight, I'm sure you've heard of that film. There's Always Vanilla. I mean, just movies nonstop. This guy, greatest hits. So, John Russo.
Regular Roger Corman, if you
Yeah.
will.
Every one of his movies, banger. So,
Well, what is y'all's relationship with this film?
This was 85, I believe, right?
Yes.
I was too young to see it when it came out, but in around 1993, 94, somewhere around there, I was at a friend's house, and this existed on a VHS tape that was not labeled. And we put it on, hoping it would be porn.
Mystery tape.
And let me tell you, pretty damn close, baby.
Close enough.
This was my first experience. Like, this is one of my first experiences with like full on naked ladies. Predator 2 with that sex scene, this movie and, Van Halen videos was pretty much my opening salvo into, okay, wow, full on nakedness. This movie ruled. It had everything. Had the punks. At the time, I was starting to learn what punk rock was. So these guys were just like the coolest fucking dudes ever to me. I was like, oh my God, I want to be these guys.
Yeah, which one was your model?
Honestly, I like Scuzz. Scuzz was really cool. I always thought Suicide was a little bit too like over the top.
Now help me remember, which one is the one that has the chain connecting his ear to his nose? That's Suicide.
Which don't think that I'm not thinking about doing right the fuck now with my piercings.
You should.
You got Trash. You've got Carly, who is the preppy girl. And the one with the kind of 80s new wave girl.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the guy with the jacket, the like new wave kind of the one that's like horny for Carly.
Yeah, was it like Chuck or something?
She's like, I never did like you, but hug me.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got a Casey, a Chuck.
Chuck,
Yeah,
that's who
Chuck.
it is. And then we've got the normal girl, who's Freddie's girlfriend. And I can't remember the normal girl's name, but
Isn't that Tracy?
Tina.
Tina.
She so doesn't fit in with that
I
group.
know.
It's so weird.
There's always that one person that's like, I'll hang out with you guys. And it's like, oh boy, I've made a mistake. That was her.
No, they look to be like best friends. Maybe they all grew up together, and as they all got weird together, they still were
Weird.
friends.
It's like when you got into Star Trek as a kid and that one friend that you grew up with just didn't go with you on that trek.
Weird.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, this is a way of life. This is not just a costume, John. This means something. God, he's got feelings, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking Suicide,
My man writes poetry and cries himself to sleep.
He
I get
talks
it.
so much shit about Freddie having a job, and then he's just all like waxing philosophical in the graveyard. And I'm like, dude, these guys, I don't know. Suicide was awesome, but like I never really like connected with him.
But I did feel bad for him because he's like, "You only call me when you need a ride." I was like, "Man, my man's Suicide. He is in touch with his feelings."
Yeah. But so I saw that. I thought like, oh my God, these punks are cool. The zombie effects were like totally fun and over the top. For the zombie films, I don't think I'd seen Day of the Dead or even Dawn of the Dead at the time. I think I saw this before I saw those two. So I'd only seen Night of, and this was like a huge step up for zombie effects. So I was like super like into it. I really loved the Mortician character.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
As a kid,
Ernie's one of my favorites.
I thought he was so cool. When he rips his one pant leg off, I was just like, that dude's awesome. I don't know why that like resonated with me as a kid. I was just like, that's cool.
This man ain't afraid to cut pants. He's my hero.
Now that's punk rock.
It really is.
I'm not going to try to explain it, okay? But this movie just had a really, and the soundtrack was, you thought it was going to be all super hardcore punk rock, but no, it's got a bunch of surf rock in it. It's got
And butt
some
rock.
punk.
It's got 80s music all over the place.
Everything. But no, this was really fun, and I did love. The one thing I didn't like about it is the zombies talked, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. But that was the one thing I had a hard time reconciling as a kid. So this movie really made an impact when I was younger, and for a long time, when I first saw Dawn of the Dead, I hated it because it was not Return. John, when did you first see this movie?
Well, probably 1985. I was -1, but I was watching it from wherever.
From the womb to the tomb,
Yeah,
baby.
Exactly. No, I don't think I saw this till college. And I liked it. And then every time I watch it, I like it a little bit more. Yeah.
What about you, Emma?
Yeah, I saw it forever ago, and it's always really funny to me that I'm doing this because my sisters are both terrified of Tar Man. I mean, he has amazing effects.
He's so
good.
Yeah, but he's got to be like one of the best zombies ever. Like,
Easily.
I love it. I saw a lot of other zombie movies first, actually, and so it was really different from a lot of them. But I think, it's always fun. I agree with you, Garrett. Like, you cannot not love this movie
Because it's 80s campy enough to where you're having a good time with it, which that's one of the things I love about 80s horror so much is like no matter how goofy or serious they try to take themselves, you're going to have like some goofy fun with it. But it had intensity to it. Like when they're fighting off the stuff from getting in, like you really felt like y'all are fucked.
Yeah, and it also looks better than I remembered it looking. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and then rewatching it, I was like, oh, this doesn't look as like shitty as I thought it would.
I genuinely think the version they have on Amazon must be some sort of transfer, like a 2K or 4K restoration
Well,
project.
they're
'cause it looks
releasing a
way
4K Shoutbox.
Are they?
Blu-ray here next week or 2 weeks from now.
That might be one
from
that I
time
need
of
to pick up.
recording, not from time of listening.
I hope it comes to that 1999 footage you guys were talking about because that sounds awful.
That's Night of.
No, that's Night
Oh,
of.
Night of.
okay,
That's not
okay.
Return of.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Return of is perfect as is, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. That DVD exists right now. You could probably buy it for like a penny, or someone will give it to you out of sadness.
I don't know if it became public domain or what, but yeah, Night of the Living Dead, actually, they released, like, all these different companies had the rights to release it. So you could find, like, different companies releasing Night of.
It is public domain because of the title. It went through several title changes and they forgot to copyright the last one or something like
nice.
that. And it was like immediately in the public domain when it came out.
And you can also buy a restored version from Criterion for fucking $20. And I'm like, get fucked, man. It's public domain.
Yeah.
But at least it doesn't have those weird other scenes in it.
Yeah, what you want to find is John Russo's 1999 30th anniversary edition. Okay, that is the peak.
The
All right.
Preacher copy.
The Preacher- yes.
edition.
I hope that's what it says at the top. I'll look for it. I really don't have a lot of history with the zombie franchise genre. I didn't watch a lot of them growing up, and it wasn't until maybe high school that I started to get into them. So I was just confused about Night, Return ofs, all that stuff. I was just like, I don't even know where to start.
You
It's
were
all
more into,
just
like monsters and Godzilla and stuff, right?
correct. Yeah, way more into the monster stuff. It probably, honestly, truthfully, didn't really get into the zombie stuff until the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
That's
And
the
that
Zack
one
Snyder
really
one,
like
right?
piqued my interest, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and start watching some of these.
Ving Rhames.
Yeah,
I agree. That's probably what
It's a great remake.
got me into
Yeah.
zombies.
It's not
good.
bad. It's got some moments that I really hate just because I hated certain things from the 90s that happened in movies or right at the turn of the century.
And we've touched on Dawn a little bit in the
Yeah.
past, Dawn of the Dead, but I think
we
it's,
actually talked about it in one of our
I think the
zombie
remake's
movies.
better than the old one. I think the old one's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
Hate to say it.
I
I
agree.
agree with you. Yeah. Like,
We'll let them
I
agree
like
with
that.
us, then we're done.
This is a,
That's it.
I like that remake. Yeah.
that's fact.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Return of the Living Dead, though?
We can, but I do want to just mention something I saw that Ernie, the mortician, he is in a movie from 1988 called Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. And now I want to watch that.
Mwah.
I hear a future episode.
And choppers as in motorbikes, not helicopters.
Now I'm less
We could
interested.
do it too. We could do that and the sorority bowling slime ball whatever part 2 that they're making.
That's right.
That looks like it's just made with porn chicks.
That would be a good double feature, I'm sure. And yeah, the Slime Bowl Ramen was made with porn chicks, I think, too.
Oh, the original one
Yeah, the one from Troma.
in the 80s. Okay,
Not Troma.
no,
Troma?
that wasn't Trauma. I don't think.
No, it's Full Moon. The Puppet Master people.
Oh, Puppet Master and porn. They know their audience.
Puppet porn.
Charles Band.
There we go.
One of those. But today, like we said, Living Dead. Let's get back to it. Return of the Living Dead, directed by Dan O'Bannon. Dan O'Bannon did a fair amount of writing and screenplays. He did the screenplay for Alien, Dead and Buried. Did you guys ever see that one?
Yes.
That was an early Robert Englund role. Oh. He had a cameo in that. Writers credits for this one is Rudy Ricci, as John said earlier, John A. Russo, and Russell Striner. I want to point out that Russell Striner is Johnny from Night of the Living Dead.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
This one stars Clu Gulager. Rest in peace, Clu. We lost you this month.
Was it this month, really?
Yeah, August 5th.
man.
Dude was like 93.
That's a good
Almost
run.
as old as the Queen.
Almost.
But you may know him from films like, I almost said Friday the 13th.
Airwolf.
That's a show. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. He played the dad in that. We're going to miss you, Clue. Always enjoyed seeing you pop up. James Karen, another guy who shows up in all kinds of stuff. He plays Frank. And we've got Don Calfa as Ernie, Tom Matthews as Freddy, and he played Tommy Jarvis in the Friday the 13th series.
A lot of Friday the 13th crossover here.
Beverly Randolph is Tina, John Philbin is Chuck, Jewel Shepard is Casey, Miguel A. Nunez Jr. as Spider, and he's the one from Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Spider had bad enchiladas.
Hey, you okay?
Some damn enchiladas.
You gonna be all right?
And a good perm, really.
Beautiful hair. Lena Quigley as Trash, Brian Peck as Scuzz, and Mark Venturini as Suicide. This one on Rotten Tomatoes is at a 91% with the critics.
Wow.
That's
Good
only
job,
out-
critics.
That's impressive.
And somehow only out of 46 reviews after all these years. 79% with the audience, and that's out of 50,000 plus.
Get it together, audience. The hell?
I'm sure a lot of people were all like, this seems like a horror movie. Like, this is dumb. There's too much nakedness. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God. It's all be scary.
Yeah, but it's 100% out of people who matter. This podcast.
True. All right. I've got a back of a Beta Hi-Fi
Oh, shit.
to read to you today. That's better than Betamax, John.
One of these days, you should take like the Laserdisc, the Betamax, the VHS, and the DVD and just combine it all together into one review.
That would be a long review.
Is Hi-Fi better than Max?
It is.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Yes, I do.
looked into it a little bit.
Please tell us.
Are you tired of low fidelity on your VHS tapes, John?
I've
No.
made my opinion on that very clear.
Well, do I have a product from you? From the Mad Lads over at Sony Incorporated Limited Productions.
Wow.
We bring to you Beta Hi-Fi. No longer does the sound like it's coming out of a tin can. We've got beautiful channels and extra heads on this player for crisp quality sound.
And that's from Sony Limited
Yes.
Production Company, whatever the hell you said.
Incorporated.
Incorporated?
Yes.
Wow, tell me more.
That's all I got.
Okay.
But here's what the back of the Beta Hi-Fi has to say about Return of the Living Dead.
Get fucked. This movie's rad. Check it out. That's
end.
what it says.
It's pretty
That'd be
good.
pretty punk rock of it.
Yeah.
It's just a middle finger. Fuck you, watch me. The story that begins with a classic horror movie, Night of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, left off. I don't know why I did that.
That was real Texavania of you.
It's a nice callback. When Frank and Freddie, employees of the Unita Medical Supply Company, decide to check out the rumors surrounding the metal cylinders stored in the basement, cylinders reportedly containing the bodies of captured zombies, they've no idea of the horror that awaits them. Frank confidently slaps the side of a cylinder.
Tell us the fucking storyline.
What's it going to take to get you in the cylinder today?
That's my favorite joke of the
The
whole
cylinder
movie.
can hold so many bodies.
And to both their horror, a putrid green vapor spurts out. The men are overcome by the fumes. Inside the cases, bodies begin to stir. Their hunger for human brains is as urgent as ever. Oh
What
boy.
a weird way to phrase that.
But this time, it's not a movie. This time, it's for real. The Living Dead start chanting for live brains, and they get them in one horror scene after another.
Well, that question's answered.
Oh my god.
It
so
happens one scene after the other. Way to end your box.
Is it a movie or not, though? Because they just told me it was real, and now they're telling me it's scenes? So I'm confused.
I do love how this movie opened up, and it was like, all the events in this movie are real. The names are the same.
Yes.
The locations are the same. Damn it, it's real. And you're just like, yeah, okay, right on.
I think John Russo had been watching too much Dragnet the night before. He was like, what if we reversed that?
Well, you know, like everything is like the names have been changed. Like even Chainsaw had that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not this, though. Everyone remembers when Kentucky was nuked.
Kentucky got fried.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, what do we think of this one?
Okay, that was really good. I don't know why I didn't think of that one before, but that's really good. Oh man.
This has to be the most memorable zombie movie I can think of. And additionally, like what I was sitting like trying to think about what makes it different from other zombie movies is that this may be the first time, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Garrett, I don't know which one came first, but the first time like a zombie actually has like a personality. Like Tarman himself is the standout zombie out of the hordes of all the others, you know, nameless, ghoulless faces.
I don't know if because Tarman was never called Tarman. I mean, like, you know, it was just kind of the nickname given to it over time by fans and stuff like that. It may be in the credits. I'm not positive, but I'd be hesitant to say they like gave it personality. Like but I think it was one of the most memorable and iconic looking, just because of the visual style of it. So I think that definitely helps solidify it as like very memorable. Plus that face, so expressive. We don't normally get that with most zombies. You know, we get kind of dead, inanimate faces. Tarman, dude, he had like expression. His eyes were bulging. He was like, it seemed like he was smiling at times when he was about to like chomp on brains. I mean, so
My
I
man
would
loves
say,
brains. Can't get enough of it.
Well, obviously, this
Yeah.
movie makes that very clear.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is the first time they really gave it a zombie personality like that, but I think this is definitely one of the first times they really like tried to make the zombies super memorable by the way they are.
The only other one I could think of is Bubba. Was that for Day of the
Bub.
Dead? Bub from Day of the
Bub
Dead.
from
I didn't
Day
know
of
if
the
he
Dead.
came first.
I think Day came before.
I think Day was
yeah.
1978.
Yeah, Day came before But you know what's weird though is like while Bub is very memorable and you know you don't forget it, you get the earphones, you get the shot where he shoots the doctor and stuff like that. There's just something that remains disconnected from the audience. You know, Bub always just feels like, you know, like even though you can like sympathize and understand it, you don't like feel like hey, I'm on board with you. Tarman was different. Like you just kind of like dude, get him. Like but the movie kind of set that expectation that like it's a fucking free for all, so vote for whoever you want. You know, I don't know. I think just the different feel of the two series kind of, you know, makes that go.
And Tarman is smart. Like, I love that about him, that he's not just like...
He can use a fucking winch.
I know. He's like, I'm going to fucking get you,
I
dude.
forgot about that. And I was like, this dude's solving Resident Evil 8 puzzles.
What will he not do for brains? I'll tell you what, he's going to get them brains. I just looked it up. Day of the Dead, 1985. These both came out the same year. I wonder if there was some sort of...
Dawn came out.
Dawn was 78.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if there's some sort of competing, we got to get our zombie movie out before the other guy.
Summer
Like a
of
whole
Zombie.
Master and Commander Pirates of the Caribbean situation.
Or Armageddon and
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact, yeah.
I'm telling you, if y'all haven't seen Master and Commander, check that fucking
Such
flick
a
out.
good movie.
So good.
Is that Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
This is Russell Crowe, Benedict Cumberbatch. No, not who's the guy from who played Jarvis in Avengers? Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it. He's rad too. Anyway,
It's nothing like Pirates of the Caribbean, though.
no, very like
It's
serious,
much more realistic.
dramatic, movie, but really good.
A lot of firsts in this movie, though. It's the first time zombies eat brains or crave brains. First time they run. So some interesting firsts.
I love that they made them the brain eaters.
Yeah.
Like that is what makes zombies so freaky.
Wait,
First
did they
time
run
they use
brains?
radios.
I couldn't tell by the 90,000 times they were like brains.
Yeah.
Also, there's a porn parody out there, I believe, where they actually say
No.
butts instead of brains. I think I've seen that.
Oh my
So-
God.
Talk about high art. Love it.
Look, I have a weird love for fucking terrible porn parodies. I don't know why, but it's just so charming that fucking genre decided to like, let's just really delve into Hollywood and they just some of the like effort they put into like make things like play on words. It's so, you got to respect it.
I've never seen it, but my buddy's dad in high school had a tape called Edward Penis Hands.
That's what I'm saying. Like just that level.
It's high art right there, boy. That humor.
So they talk in this one.
Yeah.
I actually really like the fact that they talk.
I wish they had gone Gremlins too. Actually, what I'd like to say is
The zombie strapped to the
Yeah.
gurney was like, well, see, I eat the brains because it helps the pain.
and delicious. It's Atkins approved.
Yeah, it's all
like it.
protein.
I love that they talk. I think it brings a lot to this genre that you don't see a lot of ever again. Like, I don't remember seeing zombies talk since.
Well, our first introduction is that when like the zombie goes over to the radio in the ambulance and he's like, send more paramedics.
Send more cops.
Which I thought was a really funny gag.
I loved it.
But I honestly do have a little bit of a problem where the zombies talk. I prefer them not to talk because they are a little more scary and more carnal, more like kind of primal in that aspect. When they can talk, you're like, oh, they are willingly making a choice. They can think. They're capable of logic and reason. They're driven by something that they can't really control, but like they're also like, like, oh, well, I could just go to the store and get cat brains there. Like, like there's a way to solve this without them just going ape shit.
So when he's like biting your head off, you could be like, you'd be more scary if you were quiet while
Like, bro,
you're
I'm
doing
gonna
this.
give you $20 and we can take care of this. Let me take you out for a meal, dude.
I think something
Oh
that
God, I'd love to basically like Suicide and Tarman cut to them at a fancy restaurant. Just like, so what are you all about? Well, people call me Tarman and it really hurts my feelings. I feel like I got feelings too, man. And no one respects my car rides.
I think there's a real problem with the zombie franchise right now that I think this is so refreshing to come back to, this type of movie, is that zombie movies now become, look how crappy human beings are. They're the worst of all of it. And then the zombies just become a backdrop to this human drama that's so fucking boring half the time.
Yeah, that was like a clever idea the first 3 times he did it. Like
Right.
times 7,000. It's like, I get it. Humans suck.
9 seasons of The Walking
Yeah.
Dead is like all they do now. It's like
Maybe we are the monsters.
right. We've done that to death.
I agree that like them talking kind of made them a little bit less scary, but that what they say is that when you're a zombie, you feel yourself decomposing.
Yeah, the pain of.
And that is fucking terrifying. So actually, I think that added a different kind of fear. It's like you're not so much scared. I mean, the zombies are scary. They do bite your head open, like, eat your brains.
The
but
gore in this movie definitely like made me like queasy at times. It's just like the first time
It's
like
good.
that Tarman eats open Suicide's head.
I know,
Every time you see that, you're just like,
it
oh.
open so fast.
You see like the skull crunch in, and you're just like, God, you don't normally see that level of like gore, even in like the modern.
Bite into a peach. There's no effort at all.
He's got a
I
really
know.
soft skull, you know that one.
Like an egg or something. It opens so easily.
And I'll agree with you, Emma. Like, once you get that backstory from the tied down zombie, like, okay, you know, like it's more acceptable at that point. But again, it comes back to like, okay, well, we can reason this out. You know, like if they're in that much pain, cool, let's do something about it.
I
They do
don't-
have to eat live brains, so they couldn't just
Did
go
they
to the
say live
store. Yeah,
brains?
they say live brains
Okay,
sometimes.
I must have not heard that part.
Also, it didn't really seem all that reasonable. I don't think you could just talk it out with them.
I don't know.
I think by the time you tried to talk it out with them, they'd be eating your face.
I think they would pretend like they're gonna talk with you, so that you come
as
out and they
someone
can
who's
eat your
also
brain.
dead inside and just feels themselves dying a little more each day. And
Have you tried brains?
no, I haven't.
See, you're suicide. You think that you're not? That you're like this punk rock guy who's
I don't wanna
soft
be
on
suicide.
the inside.
I had a dream once where I wandered into a basement and found a whole ecology and world of zombies that had been allowed to grow for hundreds of years, and they actually became intelligent, only to find out that we've been killing off their children.
What?
Regular
Dude,
zombies.
That's a rowdy dream, bro.
So cool.
Regular zombies just hadn't had time to form and think and grow.
This is the weirdest episode of the Grave Talk we've probably ever done.
Whoa. So if you, like, okay, a little zombie civilization.
Yeah, if we left them to their own devices, they'd learn, they'd grow. You know, they're
They
like
have baby zombies.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's room to go with this like kind of conscious thinking zombie, and we've seen it in other ones,
Well,
right?
have you seen Return of the Living Dead Part 2 and 3 and
I
stuff
haven't.
like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
There's a lot more personality in the dead and stuff like
Okay.
that as we get going.
And Romero dipped into that too, like the Land of the Dead, right? We had
Mm-hmm.
that zombie who wandered through the water and got to the civilization. He could start
the
talking.
leader
a little
of
bit.
the
and also Bub, right? Like so, we've seen some.
Well, that's the thing is that was a natural progression of Bub.
Yeah.
That Romero was kind of doing. It was like they can be taught through what they knew. You know, they can kind of like tap back into that and stuff
Yeah.
like that under the right circumstances.
So really, I wonder if the natural progression of these films would get to a point where the zombie could be almost as smart as us.
I wonder if Russo or whoever, O'Bannon, whoever, wanted to go in a more like 80s campy, over the top horror style, and Romero wanted to keep it more like down to earth, realistic, and that was maybe where the divide. Again, I'm totally speculating.
Well, they
but if you
divided like
look
in
at-
1969,
But if you look at
pre-80s.
Romero's stuff is always very grounded. You know, it's like Nolan's Batman versus like Burton's Batman, you know?
Right.
And based off what I saw in this movie, like you can tell that they wanted to go like balls to the wall 80s with it.
That's what makes it so good.
Yes, absolutely.
Here, horror movie idea, Hollywood, get at us. Take your dream, zombie civilization, and then the humans invade, and it's from a zombie point of view, and it just looks like these humans are just massacring all these zombies that we've become friends with.
I like it.
Yeah.
Man, we're good. with
We're
ideas.
so good. We're
Dances
the
with the
best.
dead. We
Love
could be a
it.
Dances with Wolves type fucking thing, but we can switch it up with zombies and humans.
Yeah.
How's there not a Dance of the Dead movie yet? It's right there.
Well, there is Return of the Living Dead, Rave to the Grave.
That's that 2000 remake thing, right?
It's not a remake. It's a fucking.
Oh, is it a sequel?
It's a standalone fucking sequel where like they do a rave and these kids pop pills and become zombies, and it looks like an Amityville like budget flick.
Rave to the grave. All
Yeah.
right.
They also say rave to the grave like 8 times in the trailer.
They were so happy they came up with that phrase. They're like,
Evil Dies Tonight. Is it that bad?
It's worse than that in my opinion because it rhymes.
that makes it better.
No.
Love a good rhyme.
Well, how does this one kick off? Other than we got our Dragnet opening parody.
Oh, well, I turned it off after that. I was too scared. So,
This is real click.
oh, I didn't know I was watching a documentary. Fuck
I ain't
this.
watching no real stories on here.
No, it opens up with Freddy, and it's his first day at like a medical cadaver shop, warehouse. I like store.
They're not open for business.
You just come in, you're like, I need a adult female with perfect teeth.
And half a dog.
Yeah, that's
He
a
explains that so long. I'm like, I get it. Like,
that's a 2 AFPT. Which
the A stands for adults.
I actually really love that because it was just like because he's like now you may think this part's troubling and then Freddie goes like PT stands for perfect teeth and he's like you got it son and I was like oh this is just wonderful like 1950s like kind of like educational video.
it's so great. And he's like, you might be wondering where'd all these people with perfect teeth come from. I was like, I wasn't, but I am now.
I know that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
I was endeared to Freddie's character so fast based off like the interaction he was having with Bert.
Bert, yeah.
Because Frank is the guy who runs the place. No, Frank is...
It's Frank and Freddy, and Bert is Clu Gulager.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And then Ernie is the mortician.
Correct.
Okay.
I love that there is a Bert and Ernie in this movie.
Oh, I just got that. Holy shit.
I didn't put that together. Thank you, Emma. That's why you're here, making those Sesame Street connections.
Wait till you see the Big Bird in the background.
You were talking about puppets. Zombies on Sesame Street.
There we go.
Puppets.
That's it.
Bam. Hollywood, get the fuck at us.
Actually, though, the Tarman guy was a puppeteer.
Yeah.
Like for Jim Henson.
Get out of my dreams and get into my car. That's all I'm saying.
Tarman?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay,
actor.
I get it.
And did the Muppets.
Into his car.
Oh,
I got,
yeah.
I got a convertible with the top goes back, man.
Okay.
Everyone wants rides.
All right.
And
You
no
might-
one ever thanks me for it.
You might need to put a towel down first.
yeah.
You're going to have tar all over your
You
seats.
have to get the chain now.
Then they're in the office, and Freddy's like, "Hey, what's the weirdest shit you've ever seen working here?" And he's like, "I'll tell you what it is. You know that movie Night of the Living Dead? Totally real. Everything about that happened." And because the army's a bunch of fuck-ups, they sent the bodies here to us. And because we didn't know what to do with them, we just put them in the basement. And we're like, we will keep this here and never tell anybody about it. And Freddy is like, well, let's go
slap it.
Yeah, I want to see that.
And they say that they've been down there for 14 years.
Yeah.
Why would the government leave those there for 14
they're looking
years?
for
They are looking for him. They got their top guy on it. He loves lamb chops.
It took them over 14 years to not find him?
Well, you see how long that guy worked at the task? He would come in, berate his
Push
wife.
a few buttons,
Yeah.
put a plug in, and be like, well, I've done a good day's work.
Yeah, he's
Are
like,
you talking about the general?
general,
guy?
yeah.
Yes, I see. Yes, I see. And then what did you
so
do?
they got their top guy on it, spending 12 seconds a day looking for it. So
We tried nothing, man, and we're all out of ideas.
I only do my job in the middle of the night when we're both dead asleep.
pretty much.
But on the other hand, that guy was like fucking ready to tell someone that secret.
Oh.
Like he's like, what's the weirdest thing? He's like, actually, there's zombies in the basement.
Maybe Freddy's the first one that's ever actually indulged that past, like, oh, God, here we go.
He was so ready to
He
divulge
couldn't
that.
wait.
Though. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Thing is, I bet he tells that story to everybody. Like, oh, here he is telling that fucking story again. All right,
Can I
Frank.
tell you a secret? No, you can't. Because I will tell everybody.
Dude, I've been on the job for 4 hours. Why are you telling me this? You should keep that shit to yourself.
But the cool thing is they decide to go check it out. And they go downstairs and like, this is it. This is the drum that they're in. And then he slaps the shit out of it.
He goes, is this going to leak? No. This right here is built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Slap. And
And then immediately gets gassed. It just explodes gas all over them. And they both go down coughing. And the first time I ever saw this movie, I was like, that's not going to go good for them.
I love that joke. So he's so confident about the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
And then we get our John Carpenter style intro where we get the title cut and we get some really cool synth music. And yeah,
we get to see Tarman's face like melting away.
Yeah.
inside the tube or
That looks
tub
so
or whatever.
cool.
Yeah.
Those effects, yeah.
So was Tarman, was he in one of the canisters
Yes.
or was
Yeah.
he the guy hanging in the...
No,
No, he was in the canister.
Yellow Man
Yeah,
is
that's
Yellow
the
Man.
hanging.
lamer than
Okay.
Tarman.
Yeah, he gets cut up. Yellow Man's head gets cut off. How's he going to be Tarman later?
Why are you accusing me of being pro-Yellow Man?
Okay, listen, I never met a team yellow zombie person before, but now we got one. Mark.
I just couldn't remember where Tarman came from.
But it's like you didn't watch the movie, though.
What do you mean I didn't watch the movie? There's so many zombies. I just forgot which bag he crawled out of. That's all
this
I'm
is
asking.
so easy to keep track of, like how they look
There's
and where
two
they come
zombies.
from.
There's a yellow one and there's a tube one.
Cool.
Okay.
Moving on.
We see the group of punks
oh,
now.
right.
Our crew, our motley crew, if you will.
And-
walking down the street, and they're like, yo, what are we going to do tonight? And he's like, we're going to go hang out and pick up Freddy at 10. And like, where's he at? He's like, he's got a job. He's like, what a dick.
Fucking
And I'm like,
worker. God.
yeah. It's like, dude, Freddy's going to keep you guys in food. Y'all need to calm down. But this is where we see the group, and it is the most eclectic 80s like group of rabble. Like, you've got like street punks, you've got new wave kids, you've got preps. I mean, it's kind of like just a true like make you feel good that like you know a society can survive.
Yeah, it's like a grab bag of teens just all thrown
Real
together.
cornucopia of
Yeah.
messes.
I wanted to know how those preppy ones ended up with the punks.
I'm telling you, they were
I
friends.
think Emma nailed it, or was it John? Somebody said it that like basically they were friends beforehand.
Yeah, they all grew up in the same building. These are building punks.
Ah.
All right. Yeah, so they've all been friends since childhood. There's my backstory that I created for them. I have a whole binder, actually, I wrote out for everyone. Where
I feel like Suicide got into the punk rock stuff, and then everyone else just kind of followed him into it. I think maybe they were all new wave at one point.
Well, I think he was getting bullied a little bit, and then he gravitated toward punk because he was getting, he felt like, I need to have a tough exterior because I'm so sensitive on the inside.
I think they were new wave, and they kind of just like some of them went.
I think Spider is a low-key Smiths fan.
Maybe a mod, if you will.
Right. I think he's just still dressing punk, but he doesn't feel punk on the inside.
He hasn't turned, because he doesn't want to let his friends know and then get made.
Right. He's got to keep up the appearances.
Yeah, because they all kind of bully each other a little bit.
A little bit.
They're kind of mean.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, how are we going to kill time till 10 o'clock? And they're like, oh, I know. Let's call suicide and go to the cemetery.
Well, no, they don't decide on that yet. They just say, let's call suicide.
Yeah,
They're
they
in the
just drive
car,
around, yeah.
And like, what are we going to do? It's like, hey, look, there's a cemetery. And they're like, no. And they're like, yeah. And suicide's like, yup.
Well, yeah, because they're like, oh, are you going to pay for gas if we just drive around? And they're like,
That's so funny.
like, since we've established I'm anti-job, no.
I wanted someone to be like, no, but Freddie will.
Yeah.
Also, never mind the fact that it's like clearly 3 p.m. in the afternoon. They're like, he doesn't get off for another 2 hours, at 10 p.m. I'm like, hold on. I know where the sun is in relevance to time. But okay, movie, I'll let you go.
Yeah, well, this is zombie time. It's running on a whole different
you're right.
cycle.
They're not on the Gregorian calendar.
No, days are very short, night very long. So
Makes
So
sense.
now we cut back to the warehouse where Freddie and Frank are now kind of like, oh man, we kind of fucked up, didn't we?
first they're like, let's not deal with this at all. And then they are like, oh, what's that weird sound? And they go upstairs and the half dog is just sort of like on its side.
Yep, the
That
splice
was
alive.
so good.
Yeah.
they're so freaked out by it. They start hitting it.
I mean, honestly, come on, you can't tell me you would not hit a half dog.
Freddie gets a cane and just starts beating the shit out of it. And I was
But
like,
it's such a cute little dog, and it's like,
I know those sound effects. I was like, oh, this is making me so sad for this little half dog.
I'm just not convinced that a half dog for medical purposes would have any living tissue anymore. It would have been treated, cultured, lacquered.
Well, one could say that a
something.
dead body doesn't have any living tissue.
Yeah, skeleton comes alive later.
Okay, sorry, biomaterial.
Yeah.
Has eyeballs. Yes, that was my favorite thing, and I was like, "Ooh, skeleton with eyes, excellent."
So I think this with this tryptophan 1, 2, 3 or whatever it is doesn't need any living material.
1, 2, 3.
Living or dead, but like you know what I'm talking about, right? Like some sort of matter that would be
Yeah. No, this stuff's that good.
reanimated.
If you were ever alive, it's got what you need.
Okay, even if it's been
Rondo.
drenched
Yes.
in formaldehyde and what other chemicals to
It's
make
got
it.
the juice.
Okay.
So anyway, they've brought the dead back because the gas has filled up the warehouse. So anything inside that's dead can now come back to life. And
And they hear banging from the full cadaver room, and they're like,
the hanging room.
the hanging room. Yeah, and it turns out this is where Yellow Zombie is. So they have a plan. They're gonna let it out and hit its head. Oh, wait, no, then they call the boss first.
They
Yeah,
lock it in
yes.
there and they call. I have it written down. Hold on.
Yeah, first they're like, let's call the cops. They're like, the cops? Are you crazy?
We have a problem. That's what they say. He's like, yeah, no, I'm sure. Then that scene ends, and I was like, what a beautiful way to end that scene.
So Bert, my favorite part of this whole scene is Bert's like, all right, Frank, you're going to take the stick. And then Freddie, you're going to go over there and unlock the door. I'm going to go way the fuck over here and hide in the back. And he starts like yelling the lock combination over to Freddie. And as soon as he unlocks it, the yellow zombie just beelines straight at Bert and just fucking tackles him. I'm like, yes, that's hilarious.
they
So
pin
much
it
for your
down.
plan.
Yeah. In Bert's defense, my man was just at home, living, relaxing, and then he gets a call that his fuck up employees have created a zombie apocalypse.
yeah, true. It wasn't his fault.
And you got to wonder what kind of fuck up when someone says, hey, we work with dead things. We fucked up. You got to be like, I should definitely go in and check this out.
Yeah.
The road of possibilities are narrow at that point.
Yeah.
And this is obviously not Freddy's first time fucking up because Bert is not surprised.
This is not Freddy's first rodeo.
He's like, oh, I'm going to have to clean up after fucking Freddy again.
Did we lose another new guy? And the new guy's like, what?
Just put him in the container with the rest of them.
So they pin Yellow Zombie down, and they take a pickaxe and they slam it through the head. And for all we know at this point, hitting a zombie in the head should kill it.
That's the plan because they're like, in the movies.
They even reference the movie as like factual, like this is how it works. And they're like, well, that's not working, you son of a bitch. And then like they're freaking out. I love how the whole time Freddy's like, oh God, oh man, what do we do? Oh God. And they're just like, calm down, be brave, Freddy.
Freddy's got one of the best lines in the whole film. He's like, do you mean the movie's lying to us? He's so indignant about it. It's the best.
I mean, that is what you would do if there was zombie apocalypse. You'd
yeah.
be like, well, you got to destroy the brain. And
Totally.
if that didn't work, you would be like, well, what are we supposed to do now?
Their escalation path makes total sense, right? Once they nailed it in the head, they're like, all right, let's cut it apart. And then it turns out each individual part is still alive doing crazy zombie shit.
Let me solve the horror genre for you right here. And again, everyone, I've been saying this since episode probably 1 or 2. Fire solves everything. Wolfman, burn it. Dracula, burn it. Zombies, burn it. Haunted houses, burn it. Done.
Yeah.
Dolls.
Dolls, burn that shit.
Which is where they go next. After they cut it apart and it didn't work, they're like, you know what? My best friend Ernie is a mortician, so I'm gonna go over there and be really weird. And
Ernie, who's just next door working on a cadaver, listening to fucking
smoking a pipe, living his best life, and Bert comes in and he's like, hey Ernie, how long have we been friends? Which is when you know someone's gonna ask you to do some shady shit.
I have a note here that says these two have made out secretly at least once. Just the way they're interacting, I was like, there's a past here.
I mean, they are Bert and Ernie.
Yeah.
Again, I did not make that connection, but this just goes to further my argument.
And Bert's like, Ernie, put down your rubber ducky and listen to me. Ernie was so flippant with his pipe and his hands covered in blood.
Yeah.
He's just like going for his face. And I'm like, Ernie, come on, man.
My man's been a mortician for a long time.
Like, he doesn't mind putting other people's blood on his face.
No, in fact, he couldn't wait to tell you about rigor mortis.
Look, I just found out you're not supposed to touch your face with raw chicken hands, okay?
Oh, well,
Just kidding. I've done that for a little while, but for a while I did not know.
and that's why you've been sick so much.
I have not been sick that much.
Botulism, Garrett's best friend.
Salmonella 17 times in a row. Could not put it together.
On your 12th one, you get a free office visit. Free hospital visit.
Getting the punch card and everything. I don't remember why he starts talking about rigor mortis, because Bert's just trying to get him to ask a favor. And
Because he's excited to talk to someone about what he does. He's passionate about the dead.
Ernie's like, it's all in the head. And then it comes down to your organs and then your muscles, but you can work it out, you know?
See,
And
we
he
call this foreshadowing, John.
Oh, could be.
Because we're describing how rigor mortis works and the effects and the behavior of it. So later on, when a certain character, Freddy, has rigor mortis, the audience knows, oh my God, he's got the rigor.
the rigor, which is what they call it.
Yes.
I always call it the mortis myself.
Okay.
Well, it's not as cool as the rigor.
It's an East Coast terminology.
East Coast,
you know.
West Coast, I dig it.
So anyway, Bert's like, so anyway, I've got these bag of weasels. I'm going to need some help with these weasels.
Okay, when he says, he's like, what's in the bag? Weasels. I was like, this is a Weird Al song. Like, this is not happening right
It's
now.
weasel stomping day. But man, like, why did he even try to bullshit? Like, he immediately goes, I lied about the weasels 2 minutes ago. It's like,
Because
no shit, Bert.
so Ernie's like, oh, we can't just throw him in the fire. Let me shoot him first. He pulls out his like fucking 45 and he's like, well, no, we can't shoot him because it's just not going to work. Just trust me. These are rabid, unshootable weasels.
Well, I love Ernie for that because, yeah, it's like, hey, I have these live rabid weasels. Can we just throw them in the incinerator? And he's like, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
He's like, well, okay, check this out. Opens a bag and it's the yellow man's severed arm and it like grabs his leg and tears his tracksuit.
One leg of his tracksuit.
Yeah.
And LL Cool J was like, I'm going to write that down.
Exactly.
And I kind of got the feeling that Ernie might have seen some shit like this before because he does not react enough to a man seeing an arm grabbing and tearing at his pants.
Question, and I can't remember if I saw this or not, but like, did Ernie have his holster on his person at this time when he was working on the cadavers? Because the next time we see
think
Ernie,
so.
he's got his gun holster on his hip. Like a big leather like strap and holster on his like waistband.
Yeah.
Did he have that when he was working on the dead bodies?
Yes, he stays strapped.
Then that dude has seen some dead things that need to be burned before.
Because when Bert
Most definitely.
first walked in to Ernie's office, Bert pulls a fucking gun on her. Ernie pulls a gun on him.
That's right.
And then Bert's like, whoa. So Ernie does not play. He's just ready to go. And so, yes, I agree with you, Mark, though, because Ernie's like, all right, that's weird, but what are you going to do for me? Like, dude, what?
Like, you're going to owe me big. And I wanted to know what he wanted. Like,
Yeah,
it
he's
was
just-
something so gross he didn't want to tell
He
anybody.
went 20 minutes alone with the corpses.
Yeah.
Ugh,
He's already
Ernie.
alone with the corpse.
Yeah, that's true. He spends all day. He wants 20 minutes with Bert.
Non-rigor mortis corpses, okay? He wants those perfect teeth. He wants to make a necklace.
Yeah, so Ernie, he does dance around it, but he's like, fine, let's burn it. And rightfully so. Frank and Freddie are like, all right, but what about the bones? We're like, all right, we'll turn it up even higher. It's like, we got to get everything dead. He's like, what about the ashes? All right, we'll burn the ashes. Like, all right, I think you just made that up because that's what ashes are, the unburnable part, but fine. So they throw it in there and burn the zombie.
And lo and behold, the smoke of the dead.
Causes-
Another good movie title.
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way, Smoke of the Dead.
It's like a weed movie.
Yeah,
though.
it's definitely 420.
Yeah.
It's a full moon feature.
Definitely.
It goes up into the atmosphere, and wouldn't you know it, by golly, there's a storm a brewing.
Well, I think it makes rain. I think burnt zombies makes rain.
I think
Because that
They
happened-
just combined. I think it was just a perfect
It's too fortunate
storm.
to happen twice, though.
okay, you're right. So you think that the smoke causes clouds to
It
rain?
must.
Okay.
Or-
That's just science with John.
Or the trapezoid 789 or whatever the hell chemical it is causes it to rain. I don't know, but it happens twice.
At the beginning and the end of the movie.
Yes.
Okay. So it starts raining, and all the mixture of the moisture and the rain plus the smoke chemical rains on the cemetery that's next door.
Hold the
Yeah, we
fuck
missed the
up.
best
Hold
part.
the fuck up.
Yeah, we'll have to
Me and
rewind.
Emma are over here losing our minds because we have skipped the part where the punks get to the cemetery and then trash just goes off, baby.
Yes. So while all of this is happening, I'll let Garrett explain his favorite part of the movie.
Favorite part of cinema as a whole.
As a whole.
Okay. Without this scene, the genre, the medium doesn't need to exist.
Yes, I love trash.
Probably the first time someone's been naked on film.
I swear to God, if this podcast ever gets played for Liana quickly, I'm not going to be able to go to any horror conventions. So basically what happens before this, as they're having that conversation between Ernie and Bert and Freddie and all them,
Snuffleupagus.
yeah, Mr. Hooper,
Oscar,
Mr. Toby Hooper.
The Grouch is like, I told you this shit would happen the whole time.
Anyway,
Is he related to Trash?
Oh, shit.
He is in a can.
Yeah, I picked up on what
sexy Oscar the Grouch comes out. It's like, oh no.
Don't
Oscar's
Google it. I'm sure it
Oscar's getting
exists.
naked again.
Good costume.
Sexy Oscar.
Get some light over here.
I love it because it's trash. Yes, I love trash. Anything.
Oh God. So anyway, the punks are like, what are we gonna do? They've Suicide has picked them up in his convertible at this point. And they're like, I don't know. Let's go to the cemetery. So they go to the cemetery, and everyone it's dark immediately because classic movie. They're all sitting around, and Trash just starts talking, just waxing philosophical on things. She's like, you ever wanted like to be dead? To basically have people eat your body while you're still alive. And while she's saying this, she is getting all horned up. She is rubbing herself down. She's into it. And out of nowhere, boom, switch is flipped. She's like, it's time to get naked. Straight up. Bam, tops off. Boom, she goes and lays on a fucking giant, like what do they call the stone sarcophagus type things. She starts writhing and wriggling, and she's taking her clothes off, and boom, Trash is naked. But as that's happening, a buddy is like, guys, come quick. Trash is taking her clothes off again, which is a regular occurrence for her, which I love the fact that it's just a known thing. You take Trash somewhere, she's going to get naked. Okay.
I love that about her character. She's
just-
so fun.
I wish I had that kind of confidence, Like, I'll take my pants off, but I got to keep my shirt on,
But why keep the leg warmers on?
Because it's
For
hot.
fucking fashion, bro.
It was super hot. That's why.
The fact
I'm
that I
not
have those
complaining.
pants-
I was just asking. She got everything else off, but
Look,
those.
I've seen that
You
Jamie Lee
know how
Curtis.
hard it'd be to get those leg
like,
warmers
I've
off?
never ever
Yeah,
worn
so-
leg warmers, Sean. I wouldn't know.
Have you,
Well-
Mark?
I haven't. Promise.
Oh, you should.
Didn't even know they were a thing.
Well, how do you keep your legs warm?
Pants, pants, blankets. The usual.
That's why I wear shorts so much, just so I can wear my leg warmers.
Oh,
Yeah.
What color are they?
Neon green.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, bro.
I just pull my socks up very, very
Anyway, would you please? We're talking about Naked Trash here, okay? So Naked Trash is doing her thing. Everyone's playing music. They're having a good time. Everyone's just loving it. We
She's
find
like
out
dancing as she's getting undressed.
that,
And
so it's pure.
she has
pure
a perfect
cinema.
body.
Mwah! Chef's kiss that. Anyway, so at this point, Carly and Chuck are sitting there hanging out, and Chuck's like, hey, what's up? Like, he clearly wants to bone down. And she's just like, not a chance in hell, you fuck. And, hey, that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
So Carly gets up and walks off, and she's like, oh boy, Trash is getting naked again. Again, the women in this group are very much just kind of like, here we go again. But you know what? To be fair, Trash is the party. She brings
Why
the
don't they
vibe
join
up.
in?
Yeah, there you go. Nothing's hotter than naked people in a cemetery, straight up. So they get done dancing.
Depends on the people.
Fair point.
good
Fair
point.
But you know what? At the same time, it's
Have
about
you-
confidence, bro.
Do you remember Midsummer's sex shed?
Oh yeah.
Do I ever? Do I ever? Okay.
Was that as hot as this?
It depends on your
Depends on
time
the
of
day.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
After the LSD, I think was when that was.
Yeah. Well, then definitely yes.
at this point, Suicide's just standing there, and he's just staring off in the distance. And Trash gets down, and her leg warmers, and that's it. And walks over, and she is just all over him, and she's like, "Come on, baby, let's do this." Oh my God, I'm so hot. I'm in the cemetery, and he's like, "Would you respect the dead?" And shoves her away. Which I don't care what the situation is. If your life is about to be taken, you don't kick a naked Liana Quigley off.
Well, he doesn't know his
Yes.
life's about
It
to go.
doesn't matter. I'm saying in even that extreme of moment, you never push a naked Liana
Suicide's
Quigley
got
away.
eyes for Spider.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something going on there.
That's
But
what I'm
anyway,
saying.
that's where he gets into his whole like, man, y'all don't respect me. This is not a game to me. The thing is just a costume. No. I got feelings.
Punk is a lifestyle, bro.
Yeah.
Bruh.
He's got a lot going on.
He's
It's
the best. I love that. They make him such a strong character so quickly.
it's so good. And then Trash is not deterred though. She's back there just like, yeah, that's it. Fucking give me some poetry. I'm just gonna fucking finger myself. And you're like, dude, best movie ever. Then we cut back to the mortuary.
Yeah.
Where they're gonna actually burn the body.
Then-
And that's when they make the death smoke. Or the zombie smoke, if you will.
Smoke of the Dead.
Smoke of the Dead. There it is. I couldn't remember the name. And yeah, and immediately it becomes acid rain.
And then, so they're all panicking, and they're like, "Oh, it burns!"
The punks.
The punks, yes.
Yes,
And they
the
run
cemetery.
into Suicide's car. They put up the roof, and they're like, "Well, this fucking sucks."
I busted out the windows last week. Oh, shouldn't have done that. He's literally
I love when
Andrew
he's-
Dice
they're
Clay.
Like roll up the window. He's like, I can't. I busted him out. And you're just like,
Why?
classic Suicide. I
don't know.
Because why not, John?
That's what punks do.
Yeah.
They break stuff.
Your own stuff, other people's stuff. I
Anarchy.
get.
Anarchy, man.
He's pretty
I'm gonna
wish-
kick a hole through my window right now just to prove a point.
Bet he wishes he had those windows now, as he's getting zombie brain on
Can
him.
we get a window in here?
No.
We don't have window budget.
So at this point,
The
like
zombies all the cemetery starts coming alive.
we get a great surf rock song during this. Or what's it's Party Time is the name of the song.
That's the funniest part.
Yeah, and it's like
It's party time. We gotta party. It's party time.
it is pure like 80s like new wave cock rock.
Well, let's check
And it's-
in with resident Does It Slapper.
Yes.
Does it slap?
Yeah, no, this.
Let's check with our resident slapper.
Yes, well, as a slap expert, I would say this.
All of our
this
British
does,
listeners, they're like, what the fuck?
Other the Brits know. It does slap, as a matter of fact. This slapped pretty hard.
It's got Surfin' Dead by the Cramps.
Slaps.
Party Time by 45 Grave. We even got TSOL in here.
Yeah, it's a two-handed slap right there.
True Sounds of Liberty. in this.
Obviously, yeah.
It's great. The Damned. Man, what's not to like?
Oh, this soundtrack is fucking
It's
amazing.
a really good soundtrack.
Yeah. Couldn't
And
tell
I
you.
love- I love how whenever the dead come back, that's whenever you get that skeleton that comes up and then he opens his eyes and it's party time.
Well, the like when it emerges from the dirt though, that was really creepy.
Yeah.
like it is really like what the fuck, man. And then yeah, when it opens its eyes, it's like uh-oh.
Yeah.
What is the minimum amount of biomatter that could be I almost said regurgitated. What's the word? I'm looking for?
Reanimated.
Reconstituted?
Good question.
Either one.
Turns
Reanimated.
out
Reanimated.
2 eyes.
That's it?
That's it. Because the skeleton, that's all he had left.
Two eyes and a nervous system.
Though I don't know, not even a nervous
Not
system.
even that, yeah.
Just marrow. Just
Yeah.
marrow and
Little,
eyes.
yeah.
I don't even think that the skeleton wasn't there for braids. He was just there to party. The skeleton was like,
Did somebody say party?
yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. I don't even got teeth, but
He was great. A great effect.
yes.
All the effects in this movie, mwah. Every single one of them. Nothing,
Yes.
nothing stood out as hokey, corny, or crappy.
I'm taking bets. Is everyone going to go mwah on the podcast today before we end this?
I think have we
I
all
hope
done it so far?
No, me and you, Mark,
Okay, 2 more to go.
because we know what's up.
Listener, pay attention. When will the next one come?
It's a drinking game. Every time we make a sound and a hand gesture that you can't see, drink.
Yeah. Well, now I'm just not going to do it.
And if you get all 4, you can have lunch with John.
Nobody wants that. That's punishment.
Eat John like a zombie.
Also punishment.
His
Very
brain.
fatty meat. So
John's like the most in shape person here, and he's just like, God, I'm hideous. And I'm just like, get wrecked.
Thank you. I'm going to be riding that compliment for the rest of my life.
Listeners love you. We all think you're in great shape, John.
Thank you.
Just be who you are, man.
I am. You know what, though?
Have the confidence of trash, man.
This is a lifestyle, Garen.
See, that's why you are suicide. See, you're so sweet. You're like, John, you actually look great.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to
I
be
love my friends.
And
riding
John,
this high for the
But
rest
I'm
of my
also
life.
going to ride your guys' asses because, this is not a fucking
I
costume
hope so.
to me.
And you're
Yeah.
going to drive everybody around.
John, do me a favor and put your clothes back on, though. I don't need you dancing around in leg warmers right now. I know you're high on the compliment.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back down. And let's get back to where our punks are now running into the storage building.
Yeah, they kind of split up, right? So some
Yeah.
of them go to the car, and then
Well, the car roof starts leaking, and they
Yeah.
realize that's just not going to work for them because they're going to get flooded in this car with no windows.
and acid rain.
Yeah, I think that's the reason they run inside because it is acid rain. They're like, it's burning. I don't feel good.
Still have never seen acid rain in real life.
That's because we fixed
I
it.
was threatened by it by our science teachers in fourth grade.
Did you ever think your roof was going to like basically get eaten away because of acid rain?
I was sure I was
As a kid, I was always worried that my roof was going to get wholly.
I was going to fall into quicksand, be burned alive by acid rain, and then kidnapped.
oh,
And
yeah.
hole in the ozone.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Well, we fixed that, then we broke it again. So,
Yeah.
way to go, humans.
At some point when they're running outside in this acid rain, we actually cut to inside the warehouse, and this is where we get to first see Tarman. He emerges from his metal cocoon.
Yeah, like a butterfly, just a
Oh,
beautiful zombie butterfly.
Perfect metamorphosis into the glory that is Tarman. The one thing that also is very iconic about his look is he's super drippy. His clothes are kind of like shredded and stuff like that. Now, I'm not sure if he's supposed to be the dude from the first movie. The black guy or whatever from the first movie. 'Cause he's got the height and he's got like that kind of same build and the clothes look similar. I could be wrong about that, but I always thought that was him.
All right, headcanon right here.
Yeah.
Some Garrett headcanon. That's the same
It's
guy.
rare, but I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring.
I like
here.
it.
Okay, and then but like what's really cool is like he actually has like the front of his head is kind of worn away, so you see his skull, so it's kind of white, like in like contrast to like the rest of the dark color of the zombie. Great look for Tarman.
So you think that was Ben?
I think it might have been Ben.
But didn't Ben get shot in the head?
Oh, did
There,
he?
like there was
Oh,
no,
yeah, at
there
the
wasn't
end,
like a
at
bullet
the
hole in
end.
Tarman's skull, but
Yeah,
Could be a retcon.
that's right.
Turned out Ben.
No,
Acid.
no, you're right. You're right. I think Ben. He got shot at the end
Yeah.
because he opens the door and it's like.
But I do like the idea.
It's left
Maybe
to
it,
interpretation.
right? Maybe
But
it
yeah.
was one of those characters.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Harry,
Maybe no. Harry was too
asshole
big.
Harry in the basement.
Yeah.
Remember Harry?
I remember Harry.
But anyway,
Harry.
Return to the Living Dead.
We now return to the Living Dead. Already in progress.
Wow, that was really good.
Very well done, Mark.
So Tarman has emerged
And they're split up. The
Yes.
punks are now split up.
because Trash gets fucked up at this point because they had to run back to the cemetery. They kind of split up. Some of them run to the
Right.
cemetery, which is towards the mortuary, and then some of them run to the warehouse.
Right. The warehouse
Because-
people, they have their own sort of story
Yeah.
going on. It's only two of them, right? Just
Yes.
Chuck and the girl who hates
Well, no,
Chuck.
there's like 4 people because Tina first goes there to look
Yeah.
for Freddy earlier.
Yeah, it's just her at first. She's the one that runs into
Okay.
Tarman.
Yeah, she is chased by Tarman. That's when we first see him. And then she managed to lock herself inside a closet, puts a metal bar behind the handle, and you're like, oh, well, she's safe now. No, sir. Tarman gets a chain, wraps it around the handle, connects it to a winch, and he's like, look, I've got a degree.
There's nothing I won't do for brains.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brains. Did I mention brains?
Yeah. Part engineer, unknown, but
I would love if he
Tarman.
pulled
Yeah.
that little lock pick, and he's like, I got this.
But you gotta love that he's so smart because it makes him so much scarier.
Makes
Because
him
he's
formidable.
like he's gonna get you.
And that's the one thing, like to the talking and stuff like about this movie is, other than mindless shambling, like just like set pieces, these zombies know what they want. They're motivated. They're cognizant and know how to do certain things, open doors, things like that. So yeah, they're really motivated, and like that's what makes them so formidable. Is like wow, they are going to fuck your world up.
Yeah, these are zombies of the 80s. They know what they want, they know how to get it, and they're going to go for it, okay? So
But they really are motivated because they do say later because of the pain.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that stops it. So it makes sense actually why they're more motivated than just being hungry.
It goes black and white. Here, try these. Nuprin, little, yellow, different.
For the pain. Brains.
Some of our punks have gone into the warehouse where Tina is being attacked by Tarman, and they run down there, and Suicide sees us, and Suicide being Suicide is like, no, not one of my crew. That ain't happening. Runs down, pushes off Tarman. Tarman grabs him, chomps his brains. Boom, straight up.
It's the best
Done. There's
part,
no
yeah.
fight. It is like he just bites through it, as John said earlier, like a peach.
yeah, poor Suicide.
So does becoming a zombie give you a stronger bite than when you had as a human? Because
I kind of wondered that too.
you can't just go up to somebody and bite straight into somebody's brain.
Did you see those chompers on Tarman?
I mean,
Have
I
you
know.
ever tried?
They're beautiful pearly whites. I have not.
Yeah. He's got some PTs, okay?
That's why I shaved my head. All right. So if the zombies ever come after me, they don't have to worry about hair. I don't want them to choke.
That was really kind of
That is
you.
nice of
Yeah.
you.
Look, it's not just a costume, all right? I care about people.
Thing about suicide, his skull never fused. It's really sad. So,
Oh no, that's headcanon I don't want in this movie.
So, no
Tarman
chance.
just bites into his head. It cracks open. There is brains everywhere. Everyone's like, okay, cool. Fuck this noise. And everyone bails.
yeah.
No, first they throw like a can at him, and then he goes, more brains. And then they're like, oh shit, that was a bad idea.
That's right. That's when we first like see it like really talk beyond just like brains. Like they use like words, and I'm like, oh boy.
He's like, it must be Tarman's birthday. More brains. He also refers to himself as Tarman. for
Obviously.
person.
Yeah.
Not for me. It's
No.
for Tarman.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Frank and Freddie, and they're not looking good.
No.
They are like, I am sick. And Frank is like, hell yeah, I'm sick. And we actually get a round of paramedics to come in, and they're checking out Frank and Freddie. And he's like, no pulse.
Because they call them. They call
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you guys are like not looking great. Let's call the ambulance.
and you've seen them sort of degrade throughout like the movie so far. They've been getting real yellow,
They're getting green
Yeah,
and
and they're
sweaty.
And they're like, we breathed it in. We breathed in the gas in the canister. And they finally tell Bert what happened.
Okay, I love when Bert finds out. He's like, "Son of a bitch!" he's like, "What?" Like, I kind of feel for Bert because, like, if you had given me this information earlier, we could have potentially planned or done something. But like, he's finding out everything. Like,
I told you once. I told you 100 times, Freddie. Stay away from those canisters and stop slapping them.
Look, I'll never stop slapping cans. All right.
I got so much enjoyment out of watching Freddie freak out of every piece of information that's told to him. He's like, what do you mean no pulse? What do you mean rigor mortis? And it's like, Freddie, I know, man.
Here's what I'll tell you. This movie normalizes men crying big time. Every man in this movie is constantly either crying, just finished crying, or about to start crying. So dig it.
Okay, look, as someone who was basically crying in Spider-Man No Way Home at a Draft House theater by himself, and his server walked up and was like, dude, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I just love this scene. I'm all about this. All right, we got to get in
dig
touch
it.
with our feelings, John.
You know what? When you know what movie made a good friend of mine cry in like the first 5 minutes? Finding Nemo.
Dude,
He
same
was
here.
like, what kind of Disney movie is this? I was like, damn,
I
dude.
don't want to feel up. Up was also pretty
Oh my God.
heartstring tugging that
Yeah.
intro.
I'm going to cry right now.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Do you want to hug it out, John?
No, you know, the thing is, I save all my crying for
I'm
the
here for you,
car.
bro.
I got a whole
I'm here for you if
setup
you need
and-
it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. But
got
I
my number.
I have my crying corner in my car, so I'm okay.
You got a corner in your car? You can just sit in a seat, dude. Anyway, back to Return of the Living Dead. So yes, I also love when Freddy's just like freaking out about everything, and especially at the end where he's just like, I don't know what to do unless I might want some brains.
Brains!
And he goes after Tina's brains later.
Immediately, she made a fucking dumb mistake.
Dude.
She's an idiot.
So they move them into the cathedral, and like, Frank and Freddie, you stay in here because y'all are just going to turn. And at this point, their heart's not beating, their temperature's down to like 70s.
It's room temperature. Yeah.
Yeah. the paramedics are like, we got to get you guys out of here. They go outside to get ready to take them out. And this is when the horde of cemetery zombies, and before this, let's point out that Trash was running to the cemetery, falls in the water, and gets attacked by zombies. So
She
Trash
gets
is
mauled by a
Yeah.
group.
She
So-
get torn at by men. She's surrounded
Bitten
by
all
old,
over by old men.
Kind of like she wanted.
Like I said, porn a parody of Return of the Living Dead. Check it out. Anyway,
I'll rent it from the library.
No, that's yeah.
to the library. So anyway, so Trash is dead. Let's just get that out of the way here.
Yeah, poor Trash.
So the paramedics go outside to get everything prepped, and this horde of zombies run out of the cemetery. And when we say run, they run. They are like
Sprinters.
they're like full on sprinting. They know exactly what they're doing, and they start eating the paramedics.
And the commotion of the zombies sounds like a crowd at a baseball game. It's
It
not
does.
like normal, like the
And
shambling.
the zombies take the field.
Like, what's all that racket? It's more zombies.
Pride of the zombies.
One zombie just selling peanuts. Like, get your fingers. We got fingers here.
It's the skeleton with eyeballs.
Yes.
Ernie and Bert see this, and they're like, "Oh shit, we're kind of fucked." They ate the paramedics.
Then we get the first scene of them using a radio. One of the dead paramedics is like, "Send more paramedics."
No, it's a zombie. A zombie just walks up and says it into the radio.
I guess it was the cop then. One of them was wearing a uniform,
That's
right?
later.
That's later. Okay, I'm
'Cause
getting confused.
The cops come at a later point, get eaten, and then a zombie goes up to the radio of the cop car and is like, send more cops. And it's just like, I thought that was going to keep going and going. And I was like, oh, I love this.
Send more soldiers. It could
Yeah.
have kept escalating.
Send more nukes.
Yeah.
So that's when they go lock Freddy and Frank up.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yo, we can't do shit for him at this point. We're kind of trying to make him comfortable. The punks and everybody who's left over from the Tarman attack in the warehouse now end up at the mortuary church place. And this is where they start boarding up all the windows and walls. You know, your standard zombie, we got to board ourselves in and protect ourselves.
Fortify your position.
Yes.
In the chaos that is, Spider gets eaten. They're boarding up the windows, and Spider gets grabbed and pulled out the window and gets his head chomped open.
But they pull a zombie in with him when they think they're going to rescue him.
Yes.
They don't. He's dead. They pull half of a lady in with him, and they tie her up to the table.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, let's ask her some questions.
Yeah, and at this point, we've kind of jumped around and gone crazy. Let's do a head count of who's still alive. We got Ernie, who is now one-legged, like he's got only one pant leg on his slip.
Like he's got
got his
one leg.
holster. He's got his his tracksuit on.
To be clear, he still has both legs.
Yes, he does. He's just
Yeah.
got one like pant leg.
Which is
Correct.
important. We really want to let you know pant leg
Look,
status of everybody.
Is someone who cuts parts of clothes off? I'm telling you, this is important. You guys don't think about
No,
this
I
stuff,
hear
but
ya.
it makes him more aerodynamic, and that's why he survives. You guys.
Okay.
I think Ernie needs to borrow one of them leg warmers.
Oh yeah, when he finds trash, he can do that.
And
She's not
trash
using
will
them,
return.
so.
Trash will return.
Yeah.
So
After
right now
these
we've
messages.
got Ernie.
Ernie, one pant leg.
We've got Bert.
Two pant leg.
We've got Scuzz.
4 pant leg. What?
We've
Yeah,
got Carly.
very confused on how to use pants.
And we got Tina. And we got Freddie and Frank, who are slowly becoming zombies at this point.
All appropriate number of pant legs.
Yes. Only Ernie's.
Only Ernie. He's the only
Okay.
one who knows.
I have a question. There was one zombie that looked like he had no legs or tiny legs.
That was, it was when the paramedic was getting eaten, and
Right.
someone runs out to go check on the paramedic.
And boy, did that thing scurry fast.
It's supposed to have no legs, but I think it's a little person who is like running, but it looks like this zombie's just running on its stumps.
I was like, what is happening right now? But I'd be terrified too. He's just like one normal sized arm, like waving it.
It is making pace on fucking Bert, and you're just like, holy shit, he's gonna get him. Like, I would have felt so bad if Bert got taken out by a nubbed zombie. Like, my man, you never had a chance if this is the case.
But I think that guy would have the advantage of just what the fuck's is this coming at me? I might be like a deer in a headlights if that thing was running at me like, oh.
And while they're boarding up the place, there's like this awesome surf rock zombie song, and I mean, it's just this movie just continues to hit on like the awesome campy '80s horror this whole time.
I love how somebody complains about there's so many windows. They're like, how many more windows are there to board up?
And for as funny as this movie is, the part where they actually start interrogating the half zombie female on the gurney was actually,
Which is the next scene, yeah.
It's actually very creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like her answers and the way that puppet actually looks like it's emoting pain as she describes
You
what's
see like
going
its little
on.
spine wiggling around.
Yeah, it's,
But
it's
also,
a great
did you notice?
puppet.
Perfect teeth.
Oh,
Perfect
yeah.
teeth.
Ooh, yeah.
These zombies have excellent teeth.
That was an AFPT,
What?
an adult female perfect
that's
teeth.
right.
You need to go through the
Yeah.
training again.
Obviously,
Look, all right.
let me get you the manual.
I'm just trying to help my punk survive. I got no time for acronyms, okay?
Maybe somehow that chemical that turns you into a zombie fixes the teeth.
Oh yeah, Tyrannosaurus 879.
That one.
So there's pros and cons to it.
Right.
Yeah, zombie, great teeth
It's
though.
not all negative.
They put fluoride in the gas, okay?
Jaw strength
Just
through
like
the roof.
Water.
So at this point, yes, as you guys said, they take a half of a zombie corpse, a female zombie corpse, and they tie it down to one of the autopsy tables.
Yeah, and they're like really worried. The spider's like, "Are you sure it's tied down? Is it tied down there good? How tied down is it?
Everyone is just so. Well, I think Spider got killed, right?
Is it who's in there with them?
Scuzz.
Scuzz. I can't
Scuzz
keep
is-
getting them
yeah,
all
I know, I
confused.
know.
All right, so
It's okay.
Scuzz.
I'll take care of it.
Thank you. Scuzz, very concerned about the strength of the knot.
He never shuts up about it.
No.
He's so into that. But
Ernie's
yeah,
like, "Look, I got her tied down. Just calm the fuck down there, buddy."
Ernie gets right up in her face and is like, "Hey, little mama, tell me a story."
Yeah, let's just talk. Ignore that. One on one, right here. It's just me and you.
Everyone appropriately was like, "Don't get near it," and he's like, "No, it's cool." And I mean, maybe that's come from just dealing with dead bodies all the time. But Ernie is just very comfortable talking to the dead.
Well, he says they are no stronger than us, but not true because they bit right through multiple people's heads at this point.
Right.
So
And they did run on stumps at like record breakneck speeds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Ernie, a little overconfident in his opinions there.
What does the zombie tell us?
She says that they have to eat brains because they're in pain all the time. They can feel themselves decomposing and being dead. And that's the only thing that relieves it at all, which is honestly really horrifying. That's probably the scariest part of the movie.
Right.
It gives, if they kill you, then you're also a zombie and you're going to be in terrible pain.
It gives this zombification more depth and understanding that we didn't have before.
Well, that drive of why they're so brain focused.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like the Dead Mensa Society. So
You're right.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, and then she just wriggling, screaming, brains, brains, brains. And man, it's probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
You can hear me.
Yes.
Why do you eat people?
Not people. Brains.
Brains only.
Yes.
Why?
The pain.
What about the pain?
The pain of being dead.
It hurts to be dead.
I can feel myself rot.
All right. So the cops are dead, but the car is still out there. Like, look, we gotta skedaddle. The cop cars still have the keys in them, so we'll go to the cop car. We'll drive it up here. Everyone jumps in the cop car, and we'll get out of here.
this is when we start to notice that Freddy he's finally making the final turn. Him and Tina are kicking it over there against the wall, and she's just like, "It's okay, baby, we gonna make it." And no. Freddy's
What's
like,
wrong with her? It's like, he's obviously going to kill you and be a zombie.
maybe even if you didn't know that he was obviously going to kill you because he was being a zombie. I mean, it's pretty blatant.
Yeah, how would you not know that?
Look for the red flags, honey. Okay, but
And this movie exists in a world where Night of the Living Dead is a movie that everybody knows.
Yeah, it's within the cultural zeitgeist.
And
So
I'm so tired of these movies like, I'm going to stay with you till you die. And, it's like, no, you need self-preservation levels raised.
Yeah.
Like, get out of that room.
He's technically already dead.
Yes.
Well, the paramedics
also,
said.
what's up with the severe lack of people not sacrificing themselves to save their friends when you're turning into a zombie? There's no coming back from it.
You think Frank and Freddy should have ran out and tackled
what
a
would they
bunch
have
of
done?
them?
Ernie should have gave him his gun and been like, go out in a blaze of glory. And Freddy should have run out there and just been like, so I just ran out and started blasting.
But they know that the guns don't work.
Doesn't matter, man. Make a gesture out of it. For Tina, at least.
Is there any interaction with Frank and Freddy and other zombies?
No.
Like, do they try to attack
No.
them, or do
No.
they, maybe they already know they're turning?
I don't
What if
think anybody
that's
gets-
why the yellow zombie doesn't attack them whenever he comes out of the door? Maybe he runs right to Bert because
Oh,
because he
new
knows
level
that
of
they're
info there.
zombies.
That's a good
Not
point.
new level of info, just shit we just blatantly missed. But Emma's like, duh, you guys.
New info for me.
Yeah. Well, Mark didn't even watch the movie, as we've determined. So
That's actually a good point. Yeah, I didn't think
That's
about
really
that,
good.
but- all right.
And at this point, has Trash come back yet? Because that
Yes.
scene is so awesome.
Yes, Trash has come back around, like right before this scene.
What does she look like now?
Well, it is kind of sexy. She's the sexiest
You're
zombie I've
goddamn
ever
right.
seen. Yeah, because all the smoke and then like.
Look, I have a
there's
text message
homeless
conversation
guy.
that says, don't act like you wouldn't hit zombie Trash, okay?
Oh yeah,
if
she's
you got to
super hot
go, that's
still.
the way to go.
We're all going to get nuked. Go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yo,
mean, they
Blaze of
don't know
Glory.
that.
Just assume, if a zombie outbreak happens, just assume we're getting nuked.
But I love that she like struts out.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have any bites on her. That doesn't make any sense, but that's okay because she looks amazing. And she like kills that homeless guy right away. And then later we see her attacking the cops with some of the other zombies. And she doesn't look like any of the other zombies, but that's
She's got a bit
okay.
of a zombie face, but that's it. It's a butterface situation.
She looked more like a demon, to be honest.
Yeah, she really did look like a demon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe she's like zombie royalty. It's like second tier zombie. Oh, she's like a zombie mini boss.
Okay.
Because she was so hot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how these things happen. So Tarman must have been a hell of a looker in his day because he's like the top boss. So if it's all rated on attractiveness,
Also, all the bites on Trash are under the leg warmers.
They only bit her.
yeah, they pulled down the leg warmer's bitter and love it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I saw Zombie Leona quickly walking up to me, I'd be like, guys, it just may be my time.
I feel like that's what that homeless man was like because he was looking at her like, all right. And then she comes over and
Except
bites
he kind of wasn't. He looked more befuddled.
Well,
than,
and
like-
realistically, that's what you would look
He
like.
wasn't
It's
sitting there going like, here we go. Oh
my God, I wish he
would
was.
never come, but Johnny has, arrived. But no, like he's just kind of like standing there like, what do I do here? And it's like, bro, you and Suicide need to figure it the fuck out.
Dude, if a naked demon woman in leg warmers started walking towards you in the middle of the night, you would be confused. That would be your number one emotion is like, what is happening right now?
No one didn't say I wouldn't be confused, but it'd be for very specific reasons,
And then
John.
you'd be dead. And then you'd be back, though, but addicted to brain.
Yeah, and then me and Trash would be zombie couple powerhouses, and we would basically run the underworld.
Okay, I dig that. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's your ultimate fantasy.
It's not my ultimate fantasy, but it's definitely in the top 20. Okay.
And that's the
Tune into our other fucking .5 episode that comes out after this, where I talk about every single one of them in excruciating detail. Welcome to the GraveTalk podcast.
fantasy talk.
I'm going to tune out.
Yeah.
You're lost, buddy.
So Frank puts himself in the cremation chamber.
Poor Frank, but
Because he knows he's
good
going
for
to
him.
die.
Yeah.
yeah, that was really touching.
I felt
Yeah.
really sad about that.
Because he took off his
"Oh,
wedding
hot,
ring."
hot, and then he still pushes himself in, and it's just like, ah.
Yeah, when he takes off his ring and he
I
kisses
know.
it, and like earlier he had called his wife and been
You know
like,
they've been
I
separated
won't-
for like 40 years, right? She's dead. She's that.
This is Garrett backstory. This
Yeah.
is not
she's
in the
that
movie.
skeleton in the cemetery that has eyes. Okay.
Oh my god, she's badass. Then.
Who do you think that Bert had burned the first time? It was Frank's wife.
who do you think Yellow Person was?
Oh, jeez, we're getting dark.
Oh man, yeah, no, that was really like kind of like touching, where he's just like, I gotta do this, and he kind of knows, and you're
He
like,
doesn't want to be
"Aw."
a zombie, like a brain addicted zombie, but he feels it coming on.
Yeah, or he doesn't want to hurt the people he loves around
Yeah.
him.
See, self-sacrifice. You were just
Or-
complaining
That's what
about
I'm
this.
saying. Well, I'm
Or he
saying,
doesn't want to be in terrible pain.
Or that. Yeah.
You think it's
maybe
for
not.
selfish reasons?
Yeah,
Could be-
maybe,
it could- you know
maybe
what?
a little bit of both.
Frank, you son of a bitch.
It overlaps. His selfishness and selfishness overlap.
They can work in tandem.
Yeah. But also, he creates more zombies by putting himself on fire and spewing more zombie powder.
I mean, he
into the-
didn't know that.
That's true. That's
And that's one thing this movie does is our characters never realize what they're doing with the zombie smoke.
Which makes perfect sense because they're so busy trying to survive. They're not worried about how this happened yet.
Well, to be fair, this wasn't in the original movie, so no one knows this.
That's true.
They watched the documentary. Okay, it said
You're
nothing
right.
about zombie smoke.
Yeah, they burned him a ton in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
So what happens
Real
with
messed
Bert and Spider in the cop car?
So they turn on the headlights and it's just like a wall of zombies. And they're like, and so Bert realizes he cannot go back to save the rest of them. So he's like, we're gonna leave. We'll get help and we'll send it back to him. Spider's like, we can't just leave him. Bert's like, shut the fuck up, Spider. We're getting out of here.
We'll call the cops and we'll come back with help. That's what
Yes.
they always say.
But then they don't because they hit more zombies. Zombies are everywhere at this point. We should be clear. The whole city has turned. At one point we see there's like a police barricade totally overrun by zombies. So there's zombies everywhere.
And this is the part of the movie that really is kind of like slapdash for me, is that like at some point all this stuff happened and we had no context for any of it going down until we see them like leaving. It's like, oh, the whole city is basically like this now. It just was kind of abrupt of like, oh, okay, this is a huge outbreak all of a sudden, because it was so confined for a while.
That's true.
You didn't really think of it as like Raccoon City had been overrun, but here we are. Do you think Resident Evil 3 ripped this off, Mark?
Yes.
As our Resident Evil expert.
Everything is always a ripoff of something else.
It's true. That's just art.
So Bert is like, all right, I got another number I can call. The cops are busy getting their asses beat outside. And he goes to his office and he dials the number that's on the side of the canister.
Is this before or after they throw acid in Freddy's face? Because Freddy
This would be
attacks
after.
Tina.
Yeah, so while Bert is trying to escape, Freddy attacks Tina. They break in, they throw acid on Freddy's
Yeah,
face.
Ernie throws acid
yeah.
on his face, and it's like, damn.
And that works. It's like scares him away at least
Except when he
enough.
comes back, only his eyes are like pink and red. It's like, that was a very accurate throw there, bud.
I did really enjoy the part where like Ernie and Tina are up in the attic and it looks like Ernie's ready to shoot her in the head.
Yeah.
Like he's holding her, trying to comfort her to a bit, and he keeps like raising the pistol to her temple, and I'm just like, holy shit, he's gonna do it.
It was so subtle. I'm glad you guys caught that.
If you die not by zombie in this context, do you become a zombie or
Of
does
course
it
you
need to
do.
rain
The
again?
people in the cemetery came back, and they
yeah, but
weren't
it's because
zombies.
it rained. So if you're post-rain and not dead by zombie, do you become a zombie?
There's no way to end the zombie other than fire in this universe, right?
Yeah.
Like, killing the brain doesn't do anything this
No.
time. So I would think
You
it
could
does.
you could burn it, or you could acid dissolve it.
Oh, that's probably the best way to do it because no smoke.
Well, you got to break down the body,
Yeah.
right? It's either by fire, acid, what have you. But I think that you would come back
Okay, so
because it doesn't matter if the brain's destroyed.
So Ernie
the
was about to
gunshot
make
wouldn't matter.
yeah, Ernie was about to make a bad decision.
Or was he going to mercy kill her and kill himself so they didn't have to get zombie eaten?
Okay, that's probably more likely.
That's what I thought he
Yeah.
was toying with.
This was
the idea.
also interesting because people who get bit by a zombie in this don't necessarily come back as zombies. Like it is like kind of because suicide doesn't come back, Scuzz doesn't come back.
That we know of.
True, like why do
So-
some of them? Yeah.
I don't know. I would have loved to have seen a scene where like zombie suicide and zombie trash find each other and like this like romantic
Yeah.
embrace, and you're just like, aw. Like, or he'd be like, "Get off me, zombie trash! I got emotions. I don't feel good about this."
Another movie brought to you by GraveTalk Productions. That's a Hallmark Christmas zombie movie.
Bert sees the number on the side of the tank and he gives it a ring, and it's to alert the military. And I'm surprised this is the first time anybody's decided to call this phone number.
They originally thought about it, right? And Freddie was like, "The army? You don't want the army around here."
But he calls him, and we get connected to Colonel Glover is what I wrote down. I don't know if that's his name or not, but
It could be. Guy likes lamb
Yeah, I think
chops.
that
That's
was
what I
his
know.
name.
It's his favorite food.
and he starts asking all kinds of questions. And it's just a one-sided conversation that we see him have on the phone. He's checking all the boxes. I think we see the first fax machine and internet connection in his closet. Like he opens the door and it's like there's a computer screen and a fax comes in. And then he's like, "Oh, that's very interesting." And then what happened? And then what happened? Oh, yeah, okay. And then what happened? And then like just is he the one that calls another number and just like nukes him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he calls like the nuke control station.
And it's just some kid like sitting in a
who's mad excited to fire those nukes though. He's like, "Hell yeah!"
That
shoot
scared
those
the
nukes.
shit out of me when I saw that. Like as an adult, I was like, "Oh God!" Like,
Yeah.
no, please don't be excited about having to do this.
Kid
ever.
couldn't wait. Louisville? Yeah, hell yeah, I'll bomb Louisville. Anywhere else?
I mean, I wonder if Bert knew what was going to happen though when he's asking for such specifics about like the location, like and exactly like how many acres he has that graveyard.
Yeah, I don't think he did though. I really don't. Nobody expects to get nuked, and if you did, you wouldn't call the nuke number.
Let's get into the ethical portion of our podcast, which is what we're known for.
Yeah.
Our ethics.
No, that's what people listen to us for.
Come to us for your morals.
Knowing that if you called the military, a nuclear strike could be imminent, would you or would you not report the zombie outbreak? Would you just let it ride, roll them dice, or would you be like, "Let's just take care of this. Let's nuke it from orbit"?
I would have them nuke the zombies. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Okay.
pretty terrible. The
So we got-
zombies
we got one
themselves
nuke.
are in pain, and then the people who are getting their brains
But
eaten.
life is pain, you know.
Not that kind of pain.
we get a
though.
Werner
Death is
Herzog
pain. There's no
zombie movie.
break. Like
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of seconds in between life and death. No pain. Then it's all downhill.
Drax
again.
seemed
again.
okay. She seemed cool.
Yeah, pain, no pain.
she did seem okay
That's what I'm
compared to
saying. Like,
everybody
if
else.
you've known nothing but pain your whole life and you become a zombie, you're just like, "Yo, this is par for the course. Let's do this shit."
Some people eat brains for the pain. Some people eat Dairy Queen blizzards for the pain.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
whatever you can find.
You can turn them upside down though, and they stay.
Chocolate-covered gummy bears sitting by at all times, just in case life becomes a little bit too hectic.
Yeah.
Oh, the pain. So it's the tried tale of the cost of the many for the one, or the one for the many, right? So like,
I'm sorry, what was
The
that?
many for the one. That's how I live my life.
all you will die for me. But you know what I mean, right? It's that same tale of like Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. You know,
that's right. Needs of the many.
for the one. The needs for the many for the one.
Yeah.
Mark, you didn't answer the question.
No, I wouldn't call the. What?
You'd say zombie outbreak all the way?
What?
Okay.
Let's go.
I'm with you, man.
I'm here to live in the apocalypse.
But
and
you
see how
would
long I
live.
can
You'd
make
become
it.
a zombie like probably 20 minutes later, if that much.
Who's to say that we couldn't, just quarantine off a fire zone and burn that small area instead of having a nuke and irradiate an entire section
go
of our
find 'em all.
great nation?
You saw how that ended,
I'm gonna
though.
go live in a mall.
That ain't gonna work out for you
It
either.
didn't work out either.
Yeah.
That's because of the other stupid humans in there.
Look,
It'll
you
just
gotta
be
go to
me.
space, son.
It'll be me and the KB's toys.
Well, so
living
you're
it
also
up.
going back in time.
Did you say KB Toys?
I did.
Okay.
KB Toys been out of business for like
That's
15
where I'm
years.
making my fort.
I'm gonna swing over by the Sam Goody, hit up the KB Toys, and
I
then
got
hit the
all the
Gadzooks.
CDs I need.
Yeah, so you could play the Super Nintendo at EB Games there,
Anyway, no, I would probably call the number.
Really?
After some thought.
So I'm the only asshole here that just let the zombie apocalypse ride.
That's because you're just hoping that zombie trash would come over.
I don't
and
need
fuck
zombie
you.
trash, all right? I know where Vegas is, okay?
If it came down to the fate of humanity was riding on this nuke.
But you don't know that the fate of humanity is riding on the nuke.
But at the time,
We may be able to contain this.
all the information they have is these are unstoppable killing machines, basically. Everything they've tried has just made things worse.
And if you launch a nuke, someone else is launching a nuke too.
Not if you're nuking yourself.
Not yourself.
I don't know.
They'd just be
Russia might
confused.
just be like straight up like, oh, let's just dogpile on this one.
They just accidentally nuke themselves too. Like, I
Like,
guess
oh,
this
we
won't
don't know
do
what
it.
happened.
This guy in Russia looking at the map was like, oh, this is interesting. They're nuking themselves. What kind of 4D chess are they playing in America? And then they nuke themselves too. Like, we'll do it first, America. This is our Cold
It's
War.
a preemptive strike on ourselves.
Yeah.
That'll teach them.
You think you're the only ones who can nuke yourselves? We'll show you.
Well, we've learned a lot about me today. Okay, well, that concludes our ethical portion of the GraveTalk
Yeah, so
podcast.
3-1, we're nuking Louisville.
So we incinerate the zombie horde, but to humanity's detriment, all the smoke of the dead goes up and mixes with another rain cloud, and it rains over America. So the nuke didn't
the
do
nuclear
it.
fires will basically just burn these
The nuke
people.
was a bad idea.
And the president's going.
Now, there would be a large section that would be vaporized, so that would prevent that kind of smoke, but the fires alone from a blast like that would just burn any loose zombies. Yeah, straight up.
So the atom bomb wasn't the answer.
Never is.
It never... Yeah, thank you, John. You beat me
problem.
to it.
Yeah.
Then it's party time again.
Nah, it sure is for the
Goddamn
credits,
right.
man. And we get that beautiful music.
It's like a greatest hits clip show. I was like, man, all movies.
Yes. Okay. I was like, no one mentions it. I'm gonna fucking bring it up. But we basically recap the movie in clips, and we're just like, in case you didn't realize what you just watched, here's the Cliff Notes version.
Did
I loved it. I thought it was like really helpful for the podcast. I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's what happened. Oh yeah, I remember all that.
She's gonna start starting all her movies at the end credits just in case you
Yeah.
can just watch that and skip over the whole thing.
Did it say and Tarman as himself?
No, that'd been awesome.
Yeah.
But no, instead, I was just like, oh, I remember that scene. Exactly. I was like, oh, I remember 20 minutes ago. I do.
It's a real great moment to just reminisce with our cast and crew.
It was great. Thanks for recapping the whole thing. And then regular
Why couldn't it have been
credits.
like Howling 2 level recap where in between each shot there's just a shot of tits?
Yeah.
Right. I forgot about
You
that.
forgot about that?
I
That shit
did.
was so gratuitous.
Well, I just hadn't thought about it in a while. But yes, now the flashing titty.
That's one of the few
Yeah.
moments of 80s like horror movies where I'm just like, this is a bit much, guys. As someone who loves naked
So
people on
much.
screen, like I do feel a little bad for her here. Like it was so rowdy.
But, bold choice. Another 90 minutes of credits is just a
Bold
movie.
choice, Scott.
with
Let's
the
see if it
credits.
pays off.
They replayed the whole movie with credits going over it. It was weird, but awesome.
Great soundtrack though.
Yeah, great.
And that ends the movie. Now, has anybody seen the sequels?
I didn't even know there were sequels till today. So,
I know, like, think the third one, there's like a punk zombie who like leads a group of zombies. Oh God, it's been so long.
I did hear there's like the actors come back in multiple movies and just play different
Yes,
characters.
Different characters come
really?
back.
Yeah, which is a sign of a great sequel when you do that. So,
Yeah, no, they're even campier than this one. Like, I do remember that much.
But clearly they're not as good as the original.
No, I mean they're good in the fact that if you like really shitty movies, you're gonna have a blast with them.
I know Rave to the Grave, just from that alone, sounds
No,
like my
it's
kind of movie.
So bad. There's like mafia level dudes in that one. They're like doing an autopsy and like, I don't know. What do you think we should do? And they pull the gun on the corpse like every time it twitches, and it's just like, oh my God, you guys. The rave scene looks like it was made for about $40.
When you said mafia guys, I thought it was a zombie mafia, and there was like a zombie Godfather.
I know it was you, Fredo. You ate my brains.
Yes.
No, they're pretty rough, but they're fun.
And we've not seen much from the Return of the Living Dead universe in quite some time.
Oh no, they're still making.
Are they?
Oh yeah, that's what Rave to the Grave is, and all those different like.
That's
I
like
thought that was
2000, you
yeah,
said.
that was like 20 years ago.
it's been a while, but like they're still making return movies and shit.
Garrett doesn't know what year it is, but I think it's been quite some
I'm
time.
with Garrett. I'm like 2000. That's like just a couple of years ago, right?
It's a hop, skip, and a jump, baby. What's up?
If you
I'm
don't
not
make
old.
If you don't make a movie for 20 years, it's safe to say they haven't made
It's
it.
been a long time.
It might be more recent than that. Hold on, let's look it up real quick.
I don't know. Rave to the Grave sounds like 2000s for sure.
2005 Necropolis, 2005 Return of the Living Dead, Raid to the Grave.
But they
So-
put two out in 1 year?
Yeah, the Necropolis and so 2005.
So we're talking 17 years.
Jesus Christ.
That makes me feel so
It's a long
old.
time. The horror franchise being so resplendent with remakes and reboots.
Splendent. Well
This is
done.
Word of the Day calendar we got
Yeah.
it from last year.
You can't redo this movie.
No.
You will not get the same feel and energy and enjoyment that this original has. This is, in my opinion, one of the most unremakeable movies that's
Yeah.
out there.
Yes.
Tucker and Dale people. I think if anybody could come close to making a movie that has the same feel as
Feel.
these types of movies, Tucker and Dale. If they went a little more serious and less comedy, like specifically jokes and like gags and stuff like that, I feel like they could grab the feel of a mid-'80s campy horror flick.
It's just lightning in a bottle, man. I don't think they could do it.
It's a perfect 80s movie.
Well, we have anything else we want to mention about this movie before we wrap? Other than if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go watch it. It's one of the best zombie movies ever.
Yeah.
This episode's going to have spoilers, so watch the movie.
Before you, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, this is 40 years old. Hopefully they've watched it
Yeah.
by now.
I don't know how long the movie's been out. I didn't even know Raid to the Grave was 17 years ago.
Well, 85 is 20 years
No, I don't need
prior
math
to
lessons.
2005.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So 37
Time and space
years.
are a mystery to me.
37 years old, this movie.
Wow. That's an old movie.
4 recommendations from us. And listeners, have you seen Return of the Living Dead? What do you think of it? Why
course
don't
they
you
have.
let us know?
Don't even ask them.
They think it's great. They love it. I'll let you know what they think. They think that
Straight up.
it's unremakeable and 2 thumbs up.
I promised y'all punk rock, tits, zombies, and I delivered.
That's true.
Thank you,
Well,
Garrett. Thank you for this movie.
You also have to watch it because you have to see trash naked.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be the one to say it.
That's fair.
And listeners, let me tell you something. If you're thinking about sending cold open ideas, please do. It cannot be worse than the one that I came up with. And, I'm going to roll
Like
with
all
it.
the housekeeping we're doing at the end of the
Yeah.
episode, we're all like, look, straight up, Garrett's a perv. If you got cold open ideas,
I
We've
just
been
want-
doing this for almost 5 years. We're kind of running low on the ideas here and there.
Yeah. I just
Once
want
in a while.
listeners to know there are no bad ideas. And if there are, we just won't air them. So,
and listeners, I'd like you to know that we edit a lot of things I say out. So there are bad ideas. You just
Yeah.
don't hear them.
same. We actually record for 7 hours to get you 90 minutes of podcast. So,
It's so much editing. Nonstop. Well, Emma, thank you for joining us.
What do you got coming out?
Yeah.
You write shit.
I have some things coming out, but they're not coming out till like the end of the year. I have a story in Vestarian coming out
Boom.
in the next issue. And that's like one of my favorite stories I've ever written. And it's really freaky. And I just got an acceptance for a poetry anthology the other day. So I also write horror poetry.
Did you write it in the voice of suicide?
No, but
Maybe
you know,
maybe wanna
I'm
do a rewrite.
inspired
Is there
now.
still time? Okay.
Where can they find all your available works?
You can always find my stuff on my website, which is EmmaEMurray.com.
John, what do you have coming out?
great question. I have so much coming out. Let's see. Next week, I'll have nothing. Week after that, I believe we'll have a GraveTalk podcast. Then more nothing. And then another GraveTalk podcast.
You're the hardest working man in show business,
Thank
and I
you.
love it.
Thank
I love
you.
it. Mark, what have you got on the horizon, the pipeline?
Well, I was going to go home and eat brains, but I think maybe I'll mow the yard.
Instead of
You're the
eating
last
brains.
true party animal.
Yeah. I got housework to do. What do you got coming out, Garrett?
Look, we don't have that kind of time. All right, tune into the Point 5, where I just go over my entire life story from start to finish. It's tragic, it's wonderful, it's motivational. It's the Grave Talk. Anyway,
Well, listeners, you can find all of our stuff at thegravetalk.com. We've got a Twitter and Instagram and a Facebook page. Drop us a line. Let us know if you have any ideas for movies. Not quite sure what we're coming back with, so we'll figure it out and we'll get it posted, what's coming up soon and where you can watch it. Well, thanks for joining us
I'll
again.
do a video for you guys like I did for Predator.
There you
I'll
go.
let you guys know. I'll announce it on the social medias, so, keep an eye on that nonsense.
And he might be topless, so watch it.
Just like Warmers.
Wouldn't that be glorious?
Well, for somebody.
I hope for somebody.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.